All right, so when you're trying to figure this out, you need to do 2.864 squared. So what I would do is I would type this in right here, 18 divided by 2 pi. I would square it, hit enter, and then I multiply by 4, hit enter, and then multiply by 5, that by pi. So I get 103.1. So that's to round to the nearest whole number. So it's going to be 103, and we're talking about inches squared. So that's the total surface area. For the next two, I'll move this up a little bit. For the next two, what we have is, we call this a hemisphere or a half sphere, right? So if you think about it, this is going to be made up of two parts. It's going to be made up of half of the surface area of a sphere, and it's also going to be made a part of this, this circle on top. So I'm going to have two parts. I'm going to have kind of the circle area, and then I'm going to have the bowl area. So to find the area of the circle, I know this is 5 inches. So if I do pi r squared, that'll give me pi times 5 squared. So the top is going to be 25 pi. And then the bowl is going to be 4 pi r squared. But then I need to divide by 2 because I only want half of the sphere, or the hemisphere. So that's going to be 4 divided by 2 is 2 pi, and then r squared is going to be 5 squared. So that's going to give me 5 squared. 25 times 2 is 50 pi. So now it's kind of a composite shape. To find the total surface area, take the bowl plus the top. It's going to give me 75 pi, and then we're in inches squared. Okay. Last one. This one's definitely the trickiest one. So we got our ice cream scoop. This is a classic problem. So this is going to be, the radius of this ice cream scoop is going to be 4, right? So if I want to find, there's going to be two parts to find the surface area. I got to find the ice cream part, and then I got to find the cone part, right? Now notice I'm not going to be adding on this middle circle because I can't actually get to it. So in order to find, we need a couple things first. So that part's 8 right there. This part's 10 right here. Now this is going through the center, so what I have to do is I have to figure out the lateral edge of this thing. Let me just make sure I wrote that down right. Yep, so I have to do Pythagorean theorem. 4 squared plus x 10 squared equals x squared. So it's going to be 116 equals x squared. So x is going to be equal to the square root of 116, which is 10.77. And we can leave it like that. Right? So let's find this hemisphere now. So again, it's going to be 4 pi r squared divided by 2, which gives me 2 pi r squared. So 2 pi times r squared is going to be 16, which gives me 32 pi for the ice creams part. Now I got to find the cone part. So that's going to be pi times r times L. So pi times r times 4 times my lateral edge, which I just found, is 10.7. So if I do 10.7 times 4, that'll give me 43.08 pi. And then finally, just add them together. So plus 32 gives me, I'll write the answer right here, 75.08 pi centimeters squared. Or if I multiply by the pi, it's going to be 235.87 centimeters squared. So this is in terms of pi, but typically you don't want a non-repeating decimal when you have the pi, right? So I just typed into the calculator. And it gave me the non-rounded answer, or the rounded answer. Cool, so we got area of a sphere is going to be 4 pi r squared, and then remember, when you're finding the surface area, you only want to find the area that you can touch, right? So, cool. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.